Hi friends, welcome to Embrace the Question. I am Steve, and we are going to take another look at The Chosen tonight. This is still part 2 of episode 1 in season 2. First half was great, and we ended at a time when it was a high point in that episode for me. It was a father saying goodbye to his daughter, who he's leaving alone to him with a bunch of strangers in a foreign land. Samaria would have been very difficult. And what I think I enjoyed most about that was Jesus's reaction, how Jonathan played that, because I believe that was authentic. I believe that was Spirit-led Jesus. Don't you? The way that Jesus, though he had no wife, though he had no kids, he understood the plight and the peril of parents, sons, daughters. He understood. He placed himself into those situations. He understood. And you get a sense of that at the cross when he says, "Forgive them, Father. They don't know what they're doing." But at the same time, there was no temptation that we experienced that he did not himself experience. So in some way he felt the same angst. He felt the same fatherhood over people. And he understood what it must have been like to send his disciples, whom I believe he definitely felt them his sons and daughters. And he knew that they were going to face trials in the world, and that saddened him. Anyway, that's where we started. That was the big part for me in the first part of episode 1, the first half. Thank you for joining me again for this. I'm not getting these cranked out as fast as I want to. The world is going crazy, isn't it? And sometimes it's good to just sit and watch an episode of The Chosen. So let's do that and forget everything else for a bit. All right, let's start where we left off.
This is some expert work, my boys. Exceptional.
You should have seen this place. Weeds and branches piled everywhere.
We cleared and sowed it in a single afternoon.
So you've told us.
Well done. Very well done.
What are we doing here, Rabbi?
This is where we'll be dining tonight.
Someone lives here?
You must be Melek.
I am. You're the teacher.
I'm Jesus of Nazareth. These are my students.
I believe I owe you a debt of gratitude. I would bow, but as you can see...
It's John and Big James here that put in the sweat.
You own the field?
I do.
We thought it was for travelers.
Okay, so spit it out. What's the catch?
Catch?
You don't know me from Adam. You're a Jew. You come all the way from Galilee to preach in town. You send your students to work my land.
Fotina told us you were in need.
She told me all about you. So what do you want from me? I don't have any money. I can't make a donation to your ministry. Can't even feed my family.
That's what I want.
What?
I would love for you to share a meal with me and my friends.
Yeah, I'm really so very sorry, but we don't have any food. Not even for ourselves.
We've got that covered. Please. We would be honored.
Do you ever think about that? Do you ever consider that what God wants, what Jesus wants from you, is that space that you can't do for yourself? He wants that empty place, that helpless place. He wants to have a banquet with you when you've just told him that you have no food, not even enough to feed your family. And you as a matter of fact, he does know you from Adam. That was kind of a funny thing. But we were at a conference one time with a man named Dudley Hall, and Dudley, he gave us a story about a man trapped in a basement. The man in the basement, and what it was about was, in a nutshell, there's the person that you portray to others, right? That's your best persona. That's the best of you. The best of me is what I portray to others. It's has it together, Steve. The nice clothes sometimes. I would say good hair, but that doesn't happen. It's the well-prepared Steve often. Maybe not in videos, but well-prepared Steve is what I try to portray. And then there's the what you have in front of your friends, which is a little less than that. And then there's the person that you portray only to your family, maybe your inner circle. They know you pretty well. There's the you that you portray only to your spouse. He or she knows you oftentimes better than you know yourself. And if they are a good spouse, they keep that to themselves, right? And then there's the one that your spouse doesn't know. And that's the one you keep in the basement. That's the one you won't elaborate on. That's the one that, for the most part, if your life is an open book, usually that is a chapter you will not read to anyone. That's the one, according to Dudley, that you keep downstairs in a basement in a cage. That part of you that you're too ashamed to even admit to your mom, your dad, your best friend. The one you really would prefer that God didn't know about. And yet that's the one Jesus wants. That's the one he died for. That's poor Melek in this particular episode. And he's been set up, as has the Sons of Thunder. They've been set up. They thought they were tilling a field for travelers. And no, they were tilling the field for a poor Samaritan man who can pay them nothing in return. Sounds like pretty classic Jesus to me. Let's see what happens.
Flipped. Then the net strained so hard, I thought my arms would come out of their sockets.
And James and John took their sweet time coming to help us.
Yeah, I had to call for help 5 times before you moved.
So you followed him all the way into Samaria?
We did suggest the alternate route along the Jordan.
You didn't think could be dangerous for you?
Of course.
When I was a little girl, my father told me the Messiah would bring an end to pain and suffering. If you are who people are saying you are, when will you do that?
I'm here to preach the good news of the kingdom of heaven. A kingdom that is not of this world. A kingdom that is coming soon. Where, yes, sorrow and sighing will flee away. I make a way for people to access that kingdom. But in this world, bones will still break. Hearts will still break. But in the end, the light will overcome darkness. Speaking of broken bones, what's the story?
I fell off a horse.
Oh, I didn't see a pasture.
It wasn't mine.
Ah, a friend's horse. That's always dangerous.
No, not exactly.
Oh.
Look, you've already done so much for me that I didn't deserve.
Come, Rebecca. It's time for bed. Say good night to your new friends. Good night.
Good night. Good night.
If you knew who I am, you would never have helped me.
That's not true. This is what we Jews do. We tell and listen to stories. Our stories connect us. Tell me your story.
We ran out of money and food. My little Rebecca, I could see her ribs through her skin. And Hedwa, her eyes turned gray. There had been a drought, so there was no work in town. I had a friend in Tiratana who was also in bad straits. We traveled south past Ephraim and lied in wait along the road from Jerusalem to Jericho. We attacked a Jew who was traveling along. Pulled him down from his horse, took all his money and all his clothes. He fought back, so Dishon knocked him down. Hit his head on a rock. I thought he was probably dead. Dishon was to take the Jews' belongings and sell them to pawn traders in Anatoth. I was to ride north and sell the horse at a Roman outpost. But I wasn't on for 10 minutes when she reared up, threw me, broke my leg. I had to crawl on my elbows and forearms to the nearest town and beg for a ride back to Sikar, worse off than before. So now you know what you've done. The kind of man you've helped. Every day, I think about that Jew. Naked and alone on the road, possibly dead. I could be a murderer.
He didn't die. Somebody came along and helped him.
How do you know?
Melek. I know. I promise you, he did not die.
Why me? Why did you come all the way out here? Isn't everyone in town falling at your feet?
The shepherd leaves the 99 on the mountain to search for the one that went astray.
What do you want?
Believe my words. Return to synagogue. Search Torah.
I never learned to read.
And listen to the word read aloud. And let it affect your heart. See what happens.
And then what?
Tell others.
You know the crime I committed? In cold blood. You'd help someone like me.
He would.
Sleep on it. We'll be in town for one more day.
She is asleep.
We better go back into town before it gets too late.
Yes. We never know what sort of men may lay in wait along the side of the road, huh? Too soon?
You told them.
I think you already knew.
May I? Sleep well tonight, my friend.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Love is the greatest power on earth. Doesn't seem that way sometimes to the eyes when that's never wielded by the enemy and the enemy gets so much press. But love is the greatest, most violent power on earth. That scene is so incredibly powerful. I kind of like to start at the end and go backwards. Do you think... I wonder how often Jesus used real life experiences to illustrate his stories. Now, I understand that that tale of the Good Samaritan was a well-known story in that culture. That is what I've heard. Doesn't mean, though, that it wasn't also based on a true scenario that he would have had insider information about. The Jew in the story of the Good Samaritan is Adam. It's us. It's man. That's the Jew in the story of the Good Samaritan. And Adam was victimized in the garden. He was victimized by his own sin, by his own eyes. And as a result, he was beaten up, he was stripped naked, and he was left half dead. That's the plight of the Jew in the story, half dead. But along comes a Samaritan. And a Samaritan was a half and half, a half-breed, half Jew, half Gentile. Or in the case of the story, the implication is half man, half God. And you could say fully man, fully God. But the Good Samaritan is Jesus. And he comes along and he pours something on this victimized man. And what he pours on there is oil and wine. Who does that? Nobody does this. You don't pour oil and wine on wounds. But that's what happens in the story. And then the man, the Samaritan, takes the victimized man, puts him on his beast, his donkey, and takes him to the inn, where he pays 2 denarii and says, I'll come back in 2 days. The denarii is a day's wage, meaning 2 days, a day's wage for the innkeeper. I'm paying you for 2 days. I'll be back on the 3rd day. That's the mystique of that story. And there's a lot of neat stuff hidden in that. And you can check it out on this video if you want to delve into that story a little bit more. I love the fact that that story was built into something in this episode that was supposedly a real life event. What also is touching is the way Melek plays. He was the aggressor. He was the robber. He was the guy that victimized the Jewish man on the road. And yet he's the one that ended up with a limp. He's the one that ended up with a broken leg. He's the one ended up hurt the most by his own sin. And he was also the one that was, and is to this point in the episode, not forgiving himself. And he cannot believe that Messiah would even give him audience. That's power. That's power. And you see him question it a couple of times. I can't believe that now that you know who I am, you're willing to help me. And one of the disciples, I think Simon, or one of the disciples speaks up, yes, he would. And that's crazy cool. And still moving backwards in that scene, we have the question by Melek's wife, which is, we've always heard that when Messiah comes, he will bring peace, he will bring healing, he will bring wholeness. When are you going to do that? And all the disciples are looking at Jesus like, yeah, when are you going to do that? And Jesus starts to describe the kingdom and how the kingdom brings that. Seek ye first the kingdom, and everything you need will be added unto you. But in this world there will be broken bones, broken hearts. This is a good episode to watch right now, because if you're following this closely, if you're watching these, it means you're hooked. If most of you are Christians, most of you are believers, but you have to know that no matter how despairing it looks out there, you're part of something bigger than all of this. And this is all a good reminder. In this world there will be troubles, but do not fear. I have overcome the world. Do not fear. Do not fear.
You're sure this is it?
I don't know. This is the address I was given.
I'll be honest up front. I only have 5 extra bedrooms, and 2 of them are drafty.
Raya, they usually sleep on the ground. I think they'll be fine.
Are you sure this isn't a problem?
I'm dying anyways. I don't need the house anymore. Where is Jesus? You have certainly livened things up around here. You got me in a good mood just to fit in. Come in.
Shall we? All right.
One of the rooms is haunted by my dead grandmother.
Oh, I'll take that one.
Do you know who he is? He's not afraid of ghosts.
I might be.
Ooh, I'll take that one. This room is haunted by my dead grandmother. Ooh, I'll take that one. That's because Jesus ruined not only every funeral that he ever went to, but yeah, pretty much he probably resurrected every ghost he saw too. But I thought that was awesome.
Really? What's wrong? Abba? What's wrong?
My leg. No
Don't
pain.
do that. Come.
No pain. No pain.
Melek. It wasn't him. It wasn't him.
What's so funny? Oh, I just know of a family that's having an unexpectedly good morning.
Who, Melek?
What's happening?
You don't even have to be there to perform miracles. Don't sound so surprised, John. One day you'll be given authority to do things I do. Even greater.
Wait. I'm sorry. Can you say that again?
So, how did you sleep? Oh, it took me a while. I was a little scared by what Neraya said about this room being haunted. Oh, come on. It's not haunted.
Why didn't you correct him when he said it was?
I don't address everything at once with new converts, Big James. Well, I'm ready for breakfast. I'm thankful before you, living and enduring King, for you have mercifully restored my soul within me. Great is your faithfulness.
Pardon, excuse me. Oh. The invitation from the treasurer stands.
And the priest.
The priest is a high risk.
Only if he wants to fight over whose Torah is better.
But a great reward if he believes.
And don't forget the leper colony.
Where are you going?
For a walk. We haven't made our plans yet.
Whatever the plans will be, I'm sure it will be a long day. And I need some time alone.
You need protection.
Enough with the protection. I'll be fine. I won't be long.
But where can we find you?
Seek, and you will find.
His riddles.
It didn't sound like a riddle to me.
If you look for him, you'll find him.
That's not what I heard.
Oh, yeah? What'd you hear?
I heard you looked and couldn't find him.
You guys lost him for practically a whole day, Matthew said.
He goes where he wants, when he wants.
Yeah? Well, we need to do better.
Can you believe these guys? They dig in the mud and suddenly they're running the show.
We just think we need some leadership, okay? Security concerns aside, we need a plan.
No matter what happens today, the real question is where will we be after we leave here?
We'll get to that.
That's why James and I have outlined a plan for the next month.
Beginning with a visit to the temple. His first appearance there since performing public signs.
A visit to the scribes at Qumran.
2 days preaching at Hebron.
Hold on.
He said we were excellent planners.
Pretty sure he said planters.
He applauded our execution.
He sent you to the farm to teach you a lesson.
And we made an impression.
Let's vote on it.
Sure. Okay.
All in favor of John and Big James's plan?
I agree an agenda would be prudent.
I'm not voting.
Me either.
Why not?
New guy.
Look, it doesn't matter what I think you should do or what you think.
All opposed?
Well, I'm sorry you feel that way. I, for one, am not okay losing him for long periods of time. I'm not okay arguing about where we're going every day.
So don't argue.
Hey! Where are you going? To tell Jesus our plan.
The group said to leave it alone.
They also said he gets to make his own decisions. So, let's let him. Why do you think he picked us to plant those fields?
I'm starting to wonder about that. If I had known it was a Samaritan's
Come on.
field.
Jesus will sort it out. Rabbi!
You couldn't wait, could you?
We're sorry, we just wanted to clear a few things up, if that's okay.
By all means.
You Jewish boys are far from home.
Yes, as a matter of fact, we are. Shalom to you too.
Here's our traditional Jewish greeting for you.
Don't lift a finger.
That was a warning. Try it again and see what happens.
Quiet, Big James.
Shalom to you too. You filthy dogs! I said quiet.
Let us
do something.
What would that achieve?
Defending your honor.
They reviled and humiliated you.
They deserve to have bolts of lightning rain down and incinerate them!
Yes! Fire from the heavens!
Fire.
You said we could do things like that. Say the word, and it will happen.
Why not? We knew we couldn't trust these people. We shouldn't have come here in the first place. They don't deserve you.
Why do you think I had you work Melek's field? What was I trying to teach you?
To help?
You think it was just to be more helpful? Or to be better farmers? It was to show you that what we're doing here will last for generations. What I told Fotina at the well, and what she then told so many others, it's sowing seeds that will have a lasting impact for lifetimes. Can you not see what's happening here? These people that you hate so much are believing in me without even seeing miracles. It's the message, the truth that we're giving them. And you're going to get in the way of that because a few people from a region you don't like were mean to you. That they're not worthy? What, you're so much better? You're more worthy? Well, let me tell you something. You're not. That's the whole point. It's why I'm here.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, Rabbi.
As we gather others, I need you to help show the way. To be humble.
We will.
You wanted to use the power of God to bring down fire, to burn these people up?
Well, it sounds a lot worse when you say it that way.
You too. You're like a storm on the sea.
Come on.
Thunder exploding out of your chests at every turn. In fact, that's what I'm going to call you from now on. James and John, the sons of thunder.
The good thing or the bad thing?
Today, it was not good. But strong passion can be a good thing when channeled for righteousness. I just may have to delay giving you that authority we discussed earlier, or in smaller doses, until you two calm down a bit.
All right. The brotherhood between James and John is beautiful. The way they actually play off of each other, like, yeah, we will. Or they both look at each other in the eye and they realize we completely missed it. It's really well done. Extremely well done. Good acting. Good choices for James and John. Also, perhaps why they were called the Sons of Thunder. Maybe they were a little temperamental. Was that the first real rebuke we've seen in this show so far of disciples? It did happen, and it happened quite often, really, because you have to rein in our first inclinations of our reactions, and that's what they were doing. They were reacting. I had questions about how are they telling apart Jew from Samaritan in these episodes, and now I see the tassels. One of you said in the comments, I think it's the tassels, and I had not seen the tassels yet. A good rabbi is going to have on the talit, and usually it's under a garment. Especially if they're out walking, it's there. It's under a garment. I don't know if Jesus is actually wearing one here, but the tassels are there, and you can see them, especially hanging in this next scene that's coming up, because it's already up on my other screen. But that's the primary way. This is actually one of my favorite instances in Scripture where the disciples are wanting to call down fire from heaven on their enemies. And what I like about that is the juxtaposition between what Jesus is saying, especially after this Sermon on the Mount comes up, that his take is a little different. It's love your enemies. Love your enemies. And that is not what we see from the prophets in the Old Testament. We see and Elijah, the one who called fire down from heaven upon the groups of 50. Three groups of 50. Three groups of 50? Anyway, it was I'd have to look at that in the Old Testament. But he incinerates several groups of 50 and their commander. And it wasn't until the commander begged for his own life and the lives of his men that Elijah complied. And Elijah was one of the heroes of their faith. He was the guy to be. He was the model of passion and commitment. He was the God-man. And these guys thought, let's just be like Elijah. And Jesus is like, Elijah wasn't operating in the right spirit. And if you're just wanting to be like Elijah, you're operating in the wrong spirit. You do not know which spirit you're of. His exact words, right? And I like that because it says a lot about, well, it helps me rein me in a lot because I'm a called fire down from heaven on my enemies type of guy, and I have to be reminded that my war is not against flesh and blood, but against powers, principalities, authorities in high places. You know what I mean. Love that scene. See where we go now.
James, John, you look terrible. What happened?
What happened is that James and John needed to be reminded we're here in Samaria to plant seeds, not to burn bridges.
Master, we've brought a guest. I wanted to deliver an invitation to you personally.
Rabbi, this is Gershon, the priest of Sychar.
Ah, yes. I've heard a lot about you.
And I've heard a lot about you. You have blessed this village beyond our deserving.
The pleasure is ours to be here.
But we got word today might be your last day in Sychar.
Word travels fast.
Indeed, Rabbi, indeed. What to do us the great honor of giving a reading from the scroll of Moses in our humble synagogue?
Of course.
All right, before we continue there, I just want to give you a quick download of what I know about synagogues in that day. This is a Samaritan synagogue. They might have had slightly different rules than what you would have found in a Galilean synagogue or one found in Jerusalem. They often had the women separated, and if you were not pure blood, if you were not fully Jewish, you didn't get to come in. That's why what Timothy heard, Paul and Timothy had a mother who was Jewish but a father who was Greek. Therefore, he was known as a mumser. He was a half and half. And he would not have been allowed in the synagogue. So Timothy got his teaching by sitting outside the window of a synagogue. Purely by osmosis. He heard it through the window. He was not allowed in. And Paul often made mention of what Timothy had heard. Keep what you've heard. So this is maybe not an exactly historically accurate picture of what synagogue life was about. I sincerely doubt that the women were just waltzing in. However, this was a Samaritan synagogue. They might not have done things exactly the same way. I'm not a Samaritan historian. So let's just see. Also, before we go back, I'll make mention again that not all synagogues had a copy of Torah just sitting around. Those were very rare to have full copies. Sometimes they had a book, sometimes they had a scroll, sometimes they had two if they were fairly wealthy and had some resources or had some things passed down to them, a rich heritage, but most didn't. And so to have a lot to choose from to read, that was the importance of the oral tradition. Things were memorized so that they could be recited without having to read them. So, yeah.
Here they are. In proper order. Bereshit in the beginning. Shemot, names. Vakira, and Hikal. Bamidbar, in the desert. And Devon, words. I will leave you to make your selection in private.
Thank you. Gershon.
Yes, Rabbi.
Can you send in my disciple John, please?
Of course.
The 5 books of Moses, and no more.
They're missing out on so much.
Yes. But we have to start somewhere. What do you think I should read? Maybe Moses striking the rock instead of speaking to it. Or Balaam hitting his donkey when he was mad.
Don't torment me.
How about when Moses broke the tablets? Jonathan storming away from the dinner table. Samson striking down the men of Ashkelon. Oh, wait. They don't have those songs.
I get it. I get it.
I really am open to suggestions for the reading.
I couldn't. After today, after yesterday, I do not feel very much worthy.
Who's worthy of anything?
You? But no man, apparently.
can't be my best episode, can it? It can't be my favorite. That is a beautiful episode. There's something about that one that makes that calling, that longing for home come alive, doesn't it to you? You just, you have this longing. The scripture says that He has set eternity upon our hearts, and my heart just longs for that reunion. I realize that is a show, but it woke up something very real in me. And it does every time. I hate that feeling goes to sleep ever. You know, I taught on Saturday night, I taught out of 1 Corinthians 3. And at the end of that chapter, it says that you own life and death. And you own the present and you own the future. What does it mean to own life and death? Well, the part that gets me, I guess, is the part where we own death. It's easy to see that a Christian owns life. We alone understand life. But to own death, what does that mean? It's once you accept Him, death loses its sting. Death, it doesn't even become death anymore. It's just a doorway to Him. And that doorway isn't scary at all. It's like the end of the Chronicles of Narnia in the last battle. They walk through that doorway. And on the other side of the door is Aslan. He's truly overcome everything. Gosh, I love that episode. Thank you for watching that with me. Hope you enjoyed it. Leave a comment. Tell me what you thought about it. Your comments are brilliant. They're appreciated. Share these with somebody else. These are, what I like about these episodes is that they make you think. And when you're made to think about things on that level, in the spiritual realm, then it wakens up those parts of your mind that have been sleeping. Those things, you become more comforted, especially when things are a little chaotic outside the door. So, yeah, we'll do another one very soon. Very, very soon. Love you guys. Till next time. Peace.